And so you need like a filter, and I'm putting this filter in. You know, I want to hear from a legitimate scientist that works in the field. I don't want to hear from physicists. I don't want to hear from chemists. I don't want to hear from biologists. I don't want to hear from, even astrophysicists. You know, everybody's welcome to an opinion. Hell, your plumber might have an opinion on what's wrong with your car, but are you going to let him work on it? Or your mechanic might have an opinion about your hot water heater. Are you going to let him work on it? So I have to put that in the criteria. For me, what I find trusted sources is like, I trust the NASA scientists. Okay, I really do believe that we put a man on the moon, and the organization is not so big, is too big to keep the conspiracy under wraps. Okay, I trust NASA scientists for one thing, because they do a lot of observation and collect data, and they also have to have weather experts, because it's very, very important when you're going to make predicting the weather when you're launching stuff into space. Then they would know something about solar flares. But the most important group is the scientists that cover long-term climate change, that basically can go back in history by studying tree rings or the so-called infamous ice core samples. And what you see, what happens a lot is that you'll have these outsiders that aren't real scientists, and they'll read some paper submitted or some data by somebody, and they'll cherry pick and misinterpret. They'll misinterpret. Like in many cases, the guy who submitted the paper, you know, some guy goes on Fox News, will say, well, there's ice core samples, there's the proof that there's no global warming. And the person who collected the data will say, I never said that. You know, it's too narrow of an area to look at it. It's an overall big picture thing. And Al Brookman, yeah, I know, the Earth is just a rock flying through space. Who bloody cares? Why should I care about the planet? It's not me. I've said it before and I'll repeat it again. There's a great old episode of Get Smart, okay? You know, with Maxwell Smart. The Chief and Larrabee, who's the idiot, okay, are trapped in a safe, and there's a limited amount of air. Larrabee starts doing push-ups, and the chief says, Larrabee, what are you doing? You're going to use up all the air. He says, you use your half the way you want to, I'll use my half the way I want to. That's the mentality. That's the mentality of so many of the climate change deniers, or even the people that protested against, oh yeah, look at these guys, they're trying to ban Freon. Oh, you know, and there was a black market for Freon there for a while. And, oh, they're trying to ban aerosols. Oh, damn, tree huggers are trying to ban DDT, you know, because they don't care. They don't care. They don't want to read. They don't want to read or investigate or do any real science, you know. And they think with emotion. They think with emotion. They don't think with their heads. It's all about how I feel about this. I don't feel the government should interfere and regulate how much oil we could use, you know. I don't feel the government should put seatbelts in our cars. I don't feel that there should be a helmet law. Of course, I'm in California where we have all those laws. And after a while, you just get used to it. And so, oh yeah, I know. My dad, when he moved to California, when he retired, oh, too many damn people and too many damn laws, you know. But those things go hand in hand. The more people you have, the more laws you're going to have. So if you want less laws, let's depopulate the planet somehow. Oh gosh, now we're back into that New World Order thing again. Population control, boy, don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So many problems could be solved if we could slow the population growth. Of course, it could create some new problems where you don't have young people stepping in to fight the wars. But man, all the different things like what they did, and it worked in China, but that was under a really strict communist regime. And look, I am not a hardcore communist. I'm not a fascist. I believe that we should have some freedoms. We should have religious freedom. We should be able to travel about and not have to show papers, at least within our own country. You know, but Arizonans don't care about that. They want to be able to, where are your papers? Where are your papers at the checkpoint? Within the United States. I mean, we're not talking crossing international borders. And, but, so the Chinese, you know, they limited, you know, to say, look, you can only have one child. If you lose that, tough luck. And if we tried to do, growing up in the 70s, there were a few like made-for-TV movies that were supposed to put the fear in us about, and there was a lot of talk. Somebody wrote a book called The Population Explosion. I think that's what coined the word. I remember reading a book that I really enjoyed called Future Shock. And that was like on the bestseller list or something. And so when you start talking, I mean, there was this made-for-TV movie about this young couple that living in the United States, that states had passes, you know, these draconian population laws. Soylent Green was also based on the idea of overpopulation. But overpopulation limiting population growth would solve a lot of problems as far as, you know, having enough food to go about, especially when they say without cheap oil, it'll be difficult to produce enough food to feed everybody. Well, as we're weaning ourselves off of cheap energy, it would be good to limit our population growth. The only problem is when it's voluntary, is that the well-educated and the little bit more affluent tend to be the ones to have less children.